Congressman, thanks so much for joining us from Washington today. On this first day of the shutdown, what is it that you're doing in D.C. to end this as quickly as possible?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. It's critically important that Rhode Islanders hear directly from their representatives here in Washington about the stakes of this Republican-caused shutdown. And again, I want to be very clear. This is a result of a White House that is led by Donald Trump, a Republican, a House and a Senate that are in Republican hands who have decided to put a shutdown above the healthcare needs of the American people. So my mission is to articulate the impact on the 40,000 Rhode Islanders who won't be able to afford their health insurance because of the president's refusal and Congressional Republicans' refusal to extend the premium tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. So my number one mission is to raise the alarm and prod my colleagues, my Republican colleagues in the House who are not in town. They have not been here for days. I showed up here on Monday, I showed up here on Tuesday, and I will continue to advocate for Rhode Islanders. That's mission number one.
Have you reached out to any of those Republican colleagues and had conversations with them today, urging them to come back to the table?
Oh, I've done it certainly in public settings. The fact of the matter is they're not here in Washington. This is where we work. And they are maybe in their districts, maybe on vacation. I don't know. And so in every setting, it should be no mystery. No mystery. This is not a surprise that we are in this situation. They just happen to be MIA.
But have you picked up the phone and actually made calls to them and spoken to them privately, asking them to come back or talking about what can be done to change the situation we're in right now?
That is a tactic that I am ready to deploy, but let's not get caught in the tactics and semantics. This is on television across the nation. This is online. The appeal should not be to some insider politics, but to the constituents around the country in red states and blue states, in red districts and blue districts, where there is impact because people will not be able to afford their health care. $1 trillion taken out of the healthcare system in the big ugly law. Look, to get to Congress, you're usually a pretty smart person. And the colleagues that I have on the Republican side know exactly what they're doing. They chose shutdown over their constituents.
What do you say to Rhode Islanders who now are without a job or are going to work without a paycheck because of this shutdown?
Well, first off, I thank every single federal employee, every single contractor, everybody who provides that essential service that keeps our government going. And I stand for them. I stand with them. And that is why it is incumbent on the president, the Republican-led House, the Republican-led Senate to come to the table and negotiate in a bipartisan way to advance the priority of healthcare in this country and get these federal employees back to work. You know, I think about the TSA agents who I see weekly in TF Green Airport who are working without pay. I think to those who are furloughed from an agency, maybe providing customer service to Social Security or at the SBA so small businesses can have loans. I want to get them back to work as soon as possible. The president and Congressional Republicans know exactly what they have to do to get that done. And that is come to the table and let's make a deal to advance the health care of people across this country, making sure that they can pay for those ACA tax credits, making sure that we can enhance the opportunity for everybody to have a healthy life by undoing those cuts in the big ugly law, saving our healthcare system and lowering costs. That's the priority. Come to the table, President Trump, come to the table, House and Senate Republicans, let's get this done.
Are you all still getting paid throughout this shutdown?
Yes, it's statutory. But look, let's be very clear. This is not about individual members of Congress. I would gladly say if I had the capacity to that I don't deserve to have that compensation just in solidarity with so many of the people who are working without pay. But this is bigger than that. In so many ways, what we have to do is, as we communicate these stakes, get to a solution, get to the matter of solving for healthcare across this country.
Are there any compromises that Democrats are putting on the table outside of fully funding the Affordable Care Act?
Well, look, the compromise position here is one that we have articulated. It's come to the table, undo the health care cuts of the big ugly law, and ensure that people across this country, no matter where they live, especially the 40,000 Rhode Islanders who are going to see 200% increases in their health insurance, have the ability to get that tax credit. So I don't think there is any room. It's either provide health care or not. Allow people the opportunity to pay for their health insurance or not. Because otherwise, you're forcing choices on Rhode Islanders who are going to decide whether to pay for their rent, buy groceries, help their kids out with school supplies or other school needs, or pay for their health insurance. I don't think there is room that needs to be there. I know our priorities, and that is the people that we serve and their health care.
All right, Congressman, we're tight on time, so we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.